Hello there gang, Devere here, another Past Blast. Playing a little bit of Broken Sword 4, The Angel of Death. The fourth part in the Broken Sword series, released in 2006. Now it was still published by Revolution Software, but it was developed by Sumo Digital. So let's have a quick look and see what we get with the options. So a few graphic settings, still fairly limited. Some sound balance options and controls, which are rebindable. Very minimalistic. We'll talk about that when we get back into game. So let's just dive on in with a new game.
Yahweh, show the people of Moses your power!
Thanks be to God. We have found it.
So, who's that?
I don't know, boss. I guess he works there.
You think he's packing?
Nah, the guy rides a desk.
Everyone in position.
Uh-huh.
Don't screw this up, Tony.
Hey, trust me, boss.
Hey, you know I do. Okay, boys.
It's playtime.
What happened to the pizza?
Oh, sorry, Virgil. Pizza's off till we pay Mort that $20 we owe him.
What chance of that?
Hey, something smells nice.
You got a visitor.
Business?
I sure hope so.
Oh, hi. Can I help you?
Mr. Stobart?
That's me.
Thank God. I thought you'd never get here.
It's that kind of neighborhood.
Please, Mr. Stobart, I need your help.
Oh, you want a bail bond?
Oh no, not a bail bond. You see, there are some men. They're after me. They want to kill me. Oh, if they find me here, they'll probably want to kill you too. I have a manuscript, you see, and...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Look, miss.
Anna Maria.
Anna Maria, this is a bail bond agency. I'm a lawyer, and you need the police.
But there isn't time.
Lady, in my experience, there is always time.
Now do you believe me?
Are those the guys
Yes, and if we don't get out of here...
As we can see graphically, we're still in the world still in the realm of 3D. It's definitely a more crisper version than the previous Broken Sword 3. A bit more gritty and realistic looking. Also the cameras are a little bit more helpful this time round. And the controls also. So you can just left click to move around and right click to interact with things with the mouse. Or of course you can use the WASD keys, as in the controls for you moving, but obviously you still need the mouse. to actually do anything. So right click brings up your context menu.
My trusty telescopic nine iron. A symbol of man's ceaseless striving for perfection. Yes, the Stobart Telescopic Golf Club. The future of golf in your hand or in your pocket.
So of course Rolf Saxon returns for again to voice George Stobart,
Telescopic nine
our
iron.
main protagonist. Still got to be the coolest name in video game history, hasn't it? Rolf Saxon.
I lost the key to the padlock years ago. I shouldn't have bought the super tough padlock. Nope, the padlock's never gonna break. But the bracket doesn't look up to much.
And to access your inventory, you just have to click the top here.
Aren't you supposed to be good at this sort of thing?
No, not anymore. I gave it up.
Tell that to them.
Yeah, right.
So what do we do now?
I'm working on it.
So yes, this was still published by Revolution, but it's developed by Sumo Digital, and it kind of shows in a lot of places. Because there are many people out there who consider this the weakest of the Broken Sword series, and there's probably some justification for that.
Can we get out through here?
I don't know. You want to go back down?
Are you crazy?
Exactly.
Well, I don't think we're going to have it to ourselves for long.
What did you do to those guys?
I have a manuscript. They want it.
Let me guess. It ain't poetry.
It contains the secret location of a priceless treasure.
Oh, terrific. I should have known.
It's been in my family for years. I started to decode it, drew too much attention to myself, and now this.
Well, thanks for asking me along. Really appreciate it.
So where are we?
I don't know. I've never been up here before.
That's the elevator.
Weird. I wonder who could be...
Are you crazy? The bad guys, that's who. I can't hold this forever, George.
So the first issues, this is the Steam version, and there's a few performance issues with stuttering and not being quite as smooth as it could be. There's a few posts in the forum and that to smooth it out a bit.
And
I
that
still
should hold it. Lucky the old Stobart Club has a locking device.
Thanks. That was a good idea.
Yeah. Clever, huh?
Still not quite 100% smoothed out. There's still your little judder here and there. But it's better than it was. You have to dig around with a lot of config files, and here's another irritating issue we'll see in a minute.
This thing isn't coming off in a hurry.
You get a lot of these where you need to interact with your second partner to
Quick,
do
get your hand on
things.
the grill.
Sure.
And the puzzles themselves, some of them are quite long-winded and tedious. And there is the odd block pulling bit here and there, but it's not as bad as in Broken Sword 3. But yeah, it's definitely not one of the right click to release. It's not one of the. It's not the strongest game. It's by the quality of the early Broken Swords 1, 2, and 3. This really does feel like quite a backstep, despite the improved graphics. And story-wise, it's not that great either, in all honesty.
That should stop anyone from calling the elevator.
So at least the controls are smooth. The UI is a lot easier going than Broken Sword 3. It had that weird console-based style
Come on,
menu
you can get out this way.
for actions and interactions and climbing up and down. So this is where just holding the left mouse is quite nice when you want him to walk somewhere. When there's climbing puzzles, you just point and just hold your left mouse button down. That makes things quite easy going. So yeah, in many ways this is it is a bit of a backstep. There's also, you might have quickly noticed in my inventory. Alright, come off the wall, George. Hello. Your PDA, of course, which is now the Kinect, which nothing will happen now at the moment, but there's a new mini game in there to replace the block sliding. It's a It's a little hacking mini game, and that it can be quite tedious. It's basically, you know, the old one where you have to start with a laser and direct it around using mirrors. It's basically that. But especially towards the end of the game, some of them are so long-winded and obtuse. It's one of those things you either like those sort of puzzles or you don't, and I do not. Come on, to the ladder, up. I mean, it's the visuals wise, it's definitely fairly decent looking, and talking to the voice acting, it's.
The chain's hooked to the top of the loading joist. Quite like the chain.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, as you can see. Or as you can hear, I really should say. Sometimes they sound like they've been recorded in different rooms with different days with different equipment. So it's very sort of a mixed bag on the audio front. Although it's still the audio tracks themselves are still pretty decent. So yeah, you can definitely tell it's nowhere near as strong as the actual Revolution developed games. This Sumo Digital. They're not quite in the same league, I'm afraid. So yeah, it's a bit of a weak story, some really long and convoluted puzzles.
I'll find a way to get you across.
There are some real sort of moments where you'll just be going through the inventory, clicking everything that you can find type puzzles rather than using logic or what you can obviously see around you. And a lot of the puzzles involve a lot of backtracking, as well, you're probably about to see shortly.
Okay, Anna Maria, you can cross the alley on the joists.
So, yeah,
Thanks, George. Now let's make sure they can't follow us.
Just what I was gonna do.
Come on, it won't hold them off for long.
You know what? I think we might just make it.
I underestimated you.
A lot of people make that mistake.
So, are you for hire?
Depends on the deal.
10,000 up front, 10,000 when you decode the manuscript.
I'm for hire. Just one question. Why me?
The manuscript is covered in medieval symbols. And you do medieval, don't you?
Sure, I do medieval. I even do medieval under fire.
You won't regret it, Mr. Stobart.
Please, call me George.
Okay, George. But tell me, how are we gonna get out of here?
Trust me, we'll find a way.
So you're probably getting the impression there's a lot more action-orientated sequences in this game. Yes, there is. That's for starters. Yeah, there's a lot of backtracking, a lot of puzzles. You also might have noticed Anne Marie as Nico is no longer part of the team, at least for this half of the game. She does make an appearance later on, and you get a very
I'll find a way to get back to you.
You get a very small mini adventure with her, but that was obviously something that a lot of actual Broken Sword fans weren't particularly happy with on that front. This new Anna Marie character sort of replacing Nico for the bulk of the game. And in fairness, the Nico bit is somewhat tedious and does feel more like just they had to put her in rather than. So there again, that's how nice. It's nice to have the mouse to point where you want to jump to. Come on, George, up. There we go. So definitely, overall, it controls smoother than Broken Sword 3, which was, of course, their first 3D game. And of course, this really was nearly the end of the series, with its rather lackluster sales and lackluster critical reception. It very nearly sort of ended the actual series. So that says it all, really. It was only because of the Kickstarter. Oh, I should have expected some string tying that door up. It was only because of their Kickstarter recently to get the Broken Sword 5, otherwise there wouldn't have been that. So, which is of course a return to the classic form.
A sliding bolt.
So yeah, I do kind of have to agree in the grand scheme of things about this being the weakest of the Broken Sword games. I would say it's a pretty fair summation. It's certainly personally my least favourite.
Okay, you can get across now.
Thanks. That was a good idea.
It's even there the odd little stuttery slow down and come on, sometimes getting jammed in corners as the camera slightly changes. So here's an example of the
breaker switch just won't stay in the on position. That pipe must have given it a hell of a wallop.
the backtracking type puzzle you get. I get her to oh, hotspot's gonna be a little bit touchy. There we go.
Hold this breaker switch for me, would you?
Sure. Now, why did you get me to do that?
So even though I know I wanted to hold it to stop that electricity, I've got to go all the way down there, look at the wires, and then come all the way back just to get to do that again. And that was needless backtracking. Busy work, really. And there are a few moments in this game like that. Come on, let down. So yeah, it's not that it's a bad. It's a bad game. It's just it's a bad Broken Sword game.
Damn, those cables look dangerous. Best keep clear.
Come on, where's the eye icon? So now she should hold the switch open properly. But yeah, was any need for that? I mean, come on, up, diddly up, George. So yeah, it's just a. This is probably one for the really committed point and clicker, or the action point and clicker, really, I should say. So now she should hopefully hold it properly.
Hold this breaker switch for me, would you?
Sure.
But yeah, there are a few moments in the game like that when you've got to do this dragging around. And the audio, as I said, it's a very mixed batch. Even Rolf Saxon sometimes sort of sounds a bit like he's phoning it in. So this game really nearly did put an end to, well, to all intents and purposes, it did put an end to the Broken Sword series. This week.
Jammed shut. The wood's swollen and won't budge.
Okay, this way. It's somewhere around here. So even there, the odd slowdown on the graphics. Well, it certainly looks fairly decent in the grand scheme of things. For 2006, it's fairly okay.
Thanks, George.
So we'll conclude
Now
our
let's get out of here.
we'll conclude our hit dealings here, gang, because after this, it's just opening that door, and after that, it's a ton of cutscenes. It sets up the next place. So the locations aren't that good. The story itself is fairly weak. The puzzles often are very frustrating. A lot of backtracking, and that hacking minigame that quickly becomes an annoyance. And yeah, just the general ambiance. It's not quite as good as the early Broken Swords. Revolution's golden touch is definitely missing from this one. But as I say, it's not that it's a terrible point and click or action point and click. It does have some good moments. There is a lot of voice acting. The audio track is always pretty outstanding, fitting for the area and locations. But you don't cover as many locations in this one as perhaps ones in the series. But yeah, more for the dedicated. If you're really into the Broken Sword series, then it's probably worth a play. And if you're an absolutely dedicated point-and-click fan, you'll still get something out of it. So it's not terrible, but compared to the other games and other point-and-clicks out there, there's definitely a lot better. So anyway, gang, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Hope you found it useful and entertaining in some way. As ever, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know alive. And I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.